Yeah, hello there. Welcome to a live interview with Eze Ikemba One in television. We have with us here His Royal Excellency.
Mr. Don. It is another privilege to speak to our viewers. I am His Royal Excellency, Eminent King Professor, Ambassador Onyeche Promise Obinna, the first African Royal Emperor of Peace, Eze Ikemba One of Etche Ethnicity, an ancestral king known as Onishi Alolakwa Agrishi, the progenitor, the keeper, and the protector of Ezumezu ancestral altar, a healer, a seer, and a divinator. Currently, I am the Supreme Commander for the Supreme Council of African Ancestral Kings and Royalty as an eminent ambassador of United Nations, representing African or ancestral practices, culture, and tradition within the 54 countries of Africa. Also, a royal patron of Etche Foundation, royal patron of United Business Women Association, royal grand patron of Etche Ethnicity International, royal grand patron of Nigerian Forest Security Services, the international president of Transparent Leadership International, the chairman CEO Fulfilled Group of Companies, director Eze Ikemba Hotel and Resort Limited, director Eze Ikemba One TV, and chairman PO Global Resources, chairman Fulfilled Engineering Construction Limited, and so many other incorporations under my network of investment.
That is fantastic. That is beautiful. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your background? Throw some light on your educational background.
Thank you. I was born into the ancestral royal palace of Umuwonu here, Umaka Dibia, who are the holders of Ndichie in Olakwa Agrishi, ancient kingdom. I am the 14th son of my father and the 28th and the last child of my father from the third wife and the official wife of late Eze John Onyegorom Onyeche, who was the seventh ancestral progenitor king of my lineage. Due to my father's occupational obligation as the damage clerk of SPDC, which is Shell Petroleum Development Company Limited, he was in charge of profiling the prospective oil wells within the southeast region. He got to know my mother, who hails from the ancient kingdom of Oloko ancestry in Ikwana local government of Abia State, who was then the princess to His Royal Majesty Eze Oloewe the Onishala Oloko in Oloko, currently Amizi Autonomous Community of Abia State. That is how my father got involved with my mother during his sojourn as the damage clerk of Shell. Then, based on that occupational involvement, I was born as a professed crown prince. That is why my name is Promise Fulfilled. The heart of the father is Obinna. After so many requests for a progenitor adherence to the ancestral stool of Ndichie Umaka Dibia, which was lastly held by my grandfather, late Eze Charles Onyeche. Then it was need for error and heresies to come into the family to take up that ancestral obligation. Then there were a lot of inadequacies on information until the God spoke through the chief priest that a son will be born and his name should be fulfillment. By traditionally, Mezunkwa, she was called promise fulfilled when I was born. Then after 4 years of my birth, due to polygamous competition, my mother took me away for safety to my maternal home, where I grew up in Amizoloko, under the counsel and guidance of my grandparents as an ancestral progenitorial prince of my lineage. However, I had my primary education from primary 1 to primary 6 at Ikebedo Community Primary School. Then it was during the military rule. I excelled as the best student during the common entrance because I was made the head boy of the school right from JS3 based on my academic excellence and intellectual prowess.
That's what, after you finished primary school?
In my primary 3, I was made the school's head boy. So I maintained the school's head boy for 3 years, supervising the academic activities of even my senior students while I was in primary school. And I was fully involved in cultural activities. That's what we call the war dancers troupe. So I became a member of the AP war dancers right from primary school because I was inducted into the Nkumemiri ancestral court while I was with my grandfather. As a toddler, I was initiated into ancestral practices by my grandfather. Then when I went into primary education, the spirit of that this encouraged me. I was very efficient in the cultural activities that made me to go to, during the military rule, we exhibited at the local government headquarters and my cultural troupe came first. So I gained scholarship based on that thing that made it when I finished my common entrance, I was given scholarship by the Abia State then military government to school in Akwa Ibom, a school called Methodist Secondary School in Tondang in Akwa Ibom. Then the school was managed by the British. It was a wide managed campus. So we enrolled in Methodist Secondary School from my JS1 up to JS2. Then there was a crisis between the Akwa Ibom and the Igbos. Then the crisis escalated that the Igbos were being killed in Akwa Ibom and Akwa Ibomites were being killed in Abia State. Then the government had to withdraw us out of that school. So that is how I returned to Abia State and I was enrolled into Oboro Community Secondary School where I wrote my junior WAEC. Then after my junior WAEC, my father was getting old and needed my presence back to the palace. So it was a surgical deviation from what I desired to have because my intention was to finish my secondary education in my maternal home. So I had to return back to the ancestral land of Etche Ethnicity to meet my father. In his blessed memory, I was enrolled into County Grammar School, the best of the best then, Ikwere Etche, where I continued my SS1. Then I became the drama and debate lead head, which we went all through Kanti Ahoda, Stella Maris College, Borokiri, and all the top-notch schools and did justice to, because we are cultural. We were known as Kanti warriors. We call ourselves the burners of our time. So that is where the passion to explore extraordinary challenges came up. So I was made the special prefect of Kanti Grammar School, Etche. Then when I finished, I was writing my wife, lost my father. I was in my examination hall. My father gave up. Then I finished my SSC. I wrote my JAM the same year. And I made 4 A's, 2 D's, 2 B's, and 1 C in my WAEC. Then I made 263 in my JAM. And automatically I gained admission into UST to read petrochemical.
What's UST?
University of Science and Technology, Rivers State University of Science and Technology. Then unfortunately, upon my admission, there was strike, nationwide strike by the university. So my uncle, who was the rector in Rivers State Polytechnic then, in his memory, called my attention through my brother, my immediate elder brother, to say, come over to Rivers State Polytechnic. Don't waste your time with your brain. Don't stay at home. So I was given automatic admission into the Civil Engineering Department, School of Engineering, Rivers State Polytechnic, to read civil engineering. So I continued my study in Rivers State Polytechnic, reading civil engineering, and something happened. Then my immediate elder brother, Prince Sonny Onyeche, was the SUG speaker. And looking at the activities of student unionism, I told him, I want to break record. I want to take your position when you retire. He said it's not possible. That he's my elder brother. There's no way the politics can allow me to take over from him. I said I want to do that. And as nature will have it, I contested under the Parliament of Civil Engineering, School of Engineering, and I won excellently. Because when it comes to academic activity, I was one of the best. One of the best of the best. Then the host of my mate said, promise we want you to represent us. So they sent me to the Parliament. When I appeared at the Parliament, and I reminded my brother what I told him, that I want to vie for the Speaker of the Parliament. I said, okay, since you have won from the department, I'll give you my support. And that is how, when we went on contest, by the heat of my followership, the man that was contesting with me withdrew. And I stood unopposed and became the first ND2 student to become a speaker of Rivers State Polytechnic. Then my activity within the unionism, we established the Student Representative Council to challenge all procedural intimidation of Nigerian students. And I went into NAPS and I vowed as the speaker of all speakers of NAPS, which finally nature.
What's the name of NAPS?
NAPS, National Association of Polytechnic Students. I became a speaker emeritus whose activity brought about a stop to molestation and intimidation of lecturers against students. I was nicknamed the Chobo Kadibo of NAPS. Then, as God may have it, I finished my studies. I had to sojourn into furthering my education. I had my master's in Washington International, where I studied structural engineering. I had my doctorate in Batchet, England, and I also had, after excelling in my doctorate under community service and management as a crown prince, I was given the opportunity to study induction into budget synod under professoral engagement. I had the offer to study my professorate as a professor in business management and administration. I was given the offer to lecture within a period in budget, which I did. And based on my commitment and everything, they wanted me to continue. But as an ancestral king, I have to return back to Nigeria. And upon returning to Nigeria, I was inducted while in budget as a Poharis fellow, because right from my, yes, of Rotary Club. From my secondary school, I became an interactor. From interactor, I went into the high institution. I became a rotaractor.
That's junior Rotary.
The junior Rotary. Then, when I traveled, I became a Rotarian in Manchester, Rotary Club of Manchester.
In England.
In England. It's where I was inducted as a Paul Harris Fellow.
That's the highest.
That's the highest. That is the highest. The fellowship of Paul Harris is the highest in Rotary. Then I had to come back to invest back home. I returned and established my first company, PO Global Resources. We were into building and engineering, printing press and all that. From PO Global Resources, I established Fulfilled Engineering Construction. Then Fulfilled Engineering went into so many projects, real estate, road construction, a lot of projects that has to do with structural hospitality as well. Then it was on the premise of these activities I established Fulfilled Aviation Logistics Limited. I had to provide aviation services, no, services as regards logistics from the airport, corporate travel management, visa, package, and all that. Then, when all that was going on, I established Fulfilled Marine Services Limited, a company through which we offer chandling services and boat and ship management, cruise course, and all that. Then I established Fulfilled International Academy, which we started from the toddler and the pre-nursery stage before something happened and we slowed down. When the then governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, established enhanced public education and made it more competitive than private sector. So parents had to withdraw their words back to public school because the standard was uncompetitive. Then we slowed down on that investment. So then I began to advocate. In 2010, I traveled based on my United Nations obligation to a community called Oran in Akwa Ibom. My mission was to stop the killing of strangers during the Etche festival. If you can recall, I mentioned my induction into the Etche court as a child. So when they called to go in and intercede on the killing of strangers and abolition of this thing during the Etche, I volunteered to go. On arrival at Oran, walking into the palace, I was identified with a star on my forehead. Then His Royal Majesty, Yensum Oran, he told me clearly that as a member of the Brotherhood of Cross and Star, he has never seen a star in any human's forehead since becoming a king for 56 years. That upon my appearance in his palace as a star, he's going to reference the star. And that day, he proclaimed me Ubokudom Orwan, meaning the strong hand of Orwan Kingdom. And he made a royal declaration that whatever that brought me to his kingdom is sealed. So when I began to rally on my mission, which is sacrilegious to speak against the court before the members of the palace, the chiefs rose in objection and he immediately shunned them, never to challenge the authority of Ubokudom Orwan. So that is why 23rd of November every year was declared Orwan Day on my legacy. So I became Ubokudom Orwan, and that day was established as Orwan Day. And on the 18th of December, I returned to Port Harcourt, mobilized my kinsmen, elders, because as a crown prince, my elders and kinsmen must be there before I receive any traditional title. I mobilized my men, women, youth. The ethnicity of Etche came in mass to Akwa Ibom to receive that royal honor. And I was coronated as Obokudom Orwan on the 18th of November 2013. Returning back home, my people came and said, since you have received a traditional title, it is time to coronate you Eze Ikemba one of Etche. So on the 29th of December 2013, I ascended the ancestral throne of my ancestors as Eze ikemba one of Etche ethnicity, Onishiala Olakwo Agrishi. My profile became very pronounced that went into advocacy. I rebranded, repackaged, and remoderated the culture and tradition of my people vis-a-vis Eguji Olakwo Agrishi, Eguji Etche. I replanted the Ezumezu ancestral altar, which is the seat of authority of all ancestral practices across the south and the east. And by the mercies of God Almighty and my ancestors, the gods began to answer my cry. Each time I prayed to them, they come to my aid. There were healing, there were deliverance, there were purification, and there were cleansing in the land. And the culture of my people was restored back. Having gone through this process, we have to think about development of Olakwo Agrishi. That brought about the establishment of the hotel called Eze ikemba Resort, Hotel and Resort, which has all the facilities you can think of within your comfort. Then, after the perfection of the Ezumezu ancestral altar, I was promised by the gods of further growth. On the 28th of March 2021, I was officially appointed as the national president, National Association of Surface Tank Oil and Gas Retailers of Nigeria.
Come again, declare.
The national president, National Association of Surface Tank Oil and Gas Retailers of Nigeria. As national president, I began to visit all the zones, the 6 geopolitical zones of the Federation, where I built bridges across rivers, met with dignitaries, royalties, and who is in Nigeria. And that brought about the birth of an incorporation called Naston Multipurpose Investment Limited, through which we volunteered and projected the cry of the Niger Deltans for the establishment of the Petroleum Industrial Bill, which was an act, which is now an act. Now, we went through the rigorous processes and the bill was passed. And during the time of late President Muhammadu Buhari GCFR, he ascended to the bill and it became an act. As the driving force for the establishment of the Petroleum Industrial Act, we began to profile for modular refineries. Because as at then, the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, came and had a town hall meeting with us at different consultative levels. And we agreed with him to float modular refineries within the 6 major states in the Niger Delta. So as the national president and the chairman of NAMPU, we began to profile for modular refinery. As we speak, we have gone into advanced stage with the modular refinery. We have cleared over 550 plots of land in Undoni community, Obebe Mandoni local government of Rivers State for this project. When this was going on, we looked at the territorial challenges Africans faced. I began to profile for the establishment through United Nations as an eminent ambassador of a council that will regulate activities of culture, tradition, and its ancestral practices. We profiled a body known as Supreme Council of African Ancestral Kings and Royalties. It is a council solely responsible to ensure that the custom and tradition of our people does not go into extinction. Based on the divine grace of God Almighty and the blessings of our ancestors, this council was adopted by United Nations, and as we speak, I was made the Supreme Commander for the Supreme Council of African Ancestral Kings.
This is very, very interesting, very, very intimidating, if you permit me to say that. Can you please tell us more about this? It's very, your profile is very, very intimidating, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very intimidating. Just throw more light. It's like there are still more in it. Before we move to the next question. Yes.
Now, after my appointment as the Supreme Commander, I began to reach out to all the ancestral kings across Africa. As we speak, we have over 280-something kings across Africa in Supreme Council. Then we looked at our diaspora community. The African descents across the globe are being marginalized. They are being segregated. They are taken as second citizens anywhere they find themselves. So we began to profile diaspora kingdoms for Africans. As we speak, we've established 6 diaspora kingdoms across United States and Europe. And we have appointed diaspora ancestral kings and queens to ensure that Africans are well represented and the affairs of Africans are well looked into. Then back home, we began cultural revival and revolution. We conceptualized our move, and that brought about the birth of a TV portal station known as Eze Ikemba TV, which is incorporated under the laws of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as Eze Ikemba Communications Limited. We established our live studio through which we stream activities of communities, engage stakeholders, and look at issues that affect us as Africans and how best we can moderate them and give it a human face. Then coming back to professional engagement, my company.
Before you go to professional engagement,
yes.
Can you tell us the difference between a traditional ruler and ancestral king?
Perfect. There are differences. A traditional ruler is a ruler by election or appointment who rules according to the custom and tradition of his people. That is a traditional ruler. Then an ancestral king is a king who came into kingship by inheritance. A kingship that runs through the family lineage, of which if a king dies, another king also continues from same ancestral root. It is called ancestral king because it is by ancestral progenition, ancestral connection that you become the king, not by election or by appointment. So that's the difference between a traditional ruler who rules by tradition and an ancestral king. An ancestral king commands the ancestral authority. He is a living deity, a priest before a king who listens to the gods, hears the gods, and acts according to the dictates of the gods. An ancestral king does not pledge his loyalty to the authorities of the state. His loyalty is to the authority of his ancestors. Because sometimes the authority of the state will speak against the authority of his ancestors. And there becomes conflicts of interest. That doesn't mean that an ancestral king is not subject to the laws of the land. He is subject to the laws of the land. But he does not do the biddings of a foreign acclaimed authority than that of the authority of his ancestors. So that is the difference between an ancestral king. An ancestral king is an all-holder, must be a seer, and must be a super human who hears, understands, and acts according to the dictates of his ancestors. Like I said, his loyalty is 100% to the dictates of his ancestors. So that is the difference between an ancestral king and a traditional ruler. Thank you.
I want to take a seat. So let's move to the other.
Thank you. Now, looking at our territorial commands, Africans are blessed. Upon the blessings God Almighty and the gods of ancestors has given to us, we are losing grip because we have lost touch with reality. Most Africans cannot connect with their true identity anymore. Religion came and bastardized tradition, making us look evil. Everything that is being done traditionally is tagged evil. Meanwhile, before religion came, before the colonies came, Africans were living a perfect life. Our health system was not in crisis. There was family value. There was respect for human lives. There was value. There was a system whereby a child is born into, develops through the family track before becoming an adult. The culture of respect, dignity for labor, and reward for hard work was the hallmark of an African environment. Then the colonies came. They raped us. Not just raping our women, they raped our culture, they raped our dignity, and they raped our pride. They took away the best of the best, both in human resources, in natural resources, and all the likes. Let me shock you. The first university in the world was in Africa. Development started from Africa. It was Africans that developed America. It was also Africans that developed England, which is the United Kingdom. The brains through which nature impacted in Africans has no rivalry globally. And that is why when you come to entrepreneurship, Africans are there. You come to sports, the general infotainment industry, the blacks are ruling the world. So how come blacks are seen as less humans? And that is why I, His Royal Excellency, Eze ikemba one, Odumezumezu, I came up with the message. Africans are black diamonds. We are not black monkeys. So having said that, it is a clarion call for every son and daughter of Africa to be proud of whom we are.
So what do you think is responsible for this aberration?
Psychological slavery.
Mental slavery.
Because when you are psychologically enslaved, you lose your value. Then whatever anybody says, you go by it. So we must rethink and go back to the drawing board to embrace those things that makes us unique. Thank you.
Yeah, you have almost answered all my questions, but then can you throw more light on your position as the United Nations eminent ambassador of peace?
Yes, under United Nations, the United Global Kingdom in 2021 classified my stool as a global stool with a certification and code under the Supreme Headquarters in Brazil. I was given a certification. Then the Nigeria Judiciary Council gave me the JP, the Justice of Peace. My Justice of Peace is not on pilgrimage now. It is based on my grassroots mobilization and absolute leadership when it comes to transparency and traditional norms. Then, United Nations, as an ambassador who has walked through the ranks and established the Transparent Leadership International body, found me worthy and decorated me as an eminent ambassador with a diplomatic identification of United Nations in 2023. Then my profile changed as an eminent ambassador. Now, having revived the culture of my people for 10 years, I was invited by His Eminence, His Royal Eminence, Eze ikemba from the Etche of Etche land, the living ancestor, the supreme king of Etche ethnicity, on 24th of March, 2024. The council found me worthy to be crowned Eze ikemba one of Etche ethnicity, which covers 3 local governments, and Odum Ezumezu, Akajofu Ezumezu of Ikwere and Etche ethnicity, which is a very highly revered ancestral and traditional position. That day I was given the offer that the land of Etche was established with, and prayers and declarations were made on it. From that day, I became a more ancestral king than ever. And as the gods may have it, we are working to justify that confidence that has been reposed on us.
Yes, I was actually going to that. I was trying to say that you should throw some light and give us a glimpse of your position as Ikemba first. And you also the Ikemba first of Etche ethnicity and the Onye Isiala of Olapo.
The Onisiala aspect, yes, like I said, in 2013, I became Onisiala. My grandfather, like I said, was the Ndichie or holder of Akadibia Olakwagwishi, which when I assumed that position, automatically I became Onisiala. Oh. Onisiala means the head, the custodian of the land. As the holder of Ndichie, I became the Onisiala. It is an ancestral position that has so much responsibilities. The Eze ikemba one is the strength. Ikemba means the strength of the land. So the strength of the land, the derivatives of that name is from Obokudom. It's from Obokudom, which is the ancestral title I gained from the land of Akwa Ibom. Obokudom means strength, the right hand, the strength. So while consummating my position in Etche, they have to adopt that honor as the strength of the land. And sincerely, since I was coronated as Eze ikemba one, I became the strength of my people. That wherever the name is mentioned, Eze ikemba, things happen. Not just because of my person, or my qualification, or knowledge, or wisdom, but because of what the gods has proclaimed decades back. So they are acting on that name to fulfill a lot of things.
I have a question I want to ask you. If you are asked by the United Nations General Assembly to introduce yourself to the world, what would be your reply?
My introduction remains His Royal Excellency, Eminent King, Professor, Ambassador Onyeche, Promise Obinna, United Nations, First African Royal Emperor of Peace.
All right, I want you to pass messages. I'm saying this as I don't just want to say message, but I want you to pass messages of different dimensions to your followers and to the world, because you're a global figure already. So you're not just talking to Nigerians, you're not just talking to Africans. I want to pass messages to Nigerians and to the global community.
Now the message is very clear and vocal. I grew to the ranks of my profession because I believe in myself. And I grew to the ranks of my traditional position because I believe in my culture and my ancestry. And I've grown to the ranks of my achievements and attainments in life because I believe that nothing is impossible. Then looking at these three analyses, what comes in common is belief. How do you believe in whom you are? How do you believe in your culture and tradition? How well do you understand and believe in your identity and your roots as an African? And how do you believe that out of your profession, you can achieve something? So whatever we do in life, if you don't believe in what you do, it doesn't work for you. So belief, he said, for those who do what? Who believe. They are the sons of God from the biblical aspect. He said, for those who do what? Who believe. They are the sons of God. So even the Bible reference on belief. And we that are traditionists also reference on belief. If you don't believe in your ancestry, it doesn't work for you. So belief is an element of achievement. And it is the stepping stone to success. So whatever you do as a youth, as an African, as an adult, whomsoever you are, if you don't believe in what you do, it doesn't work for you. So that's my message.
All right, on a final note, can you talk to the youth, especially those that are involved in all kind of atrocities, just to make money?
There is no shortcut to success. When it comes to success, success is like a ladder. When you climb step 1, you climb step 2, you climb step 3. What are the essence of the steps? At step 1, you will learn. You acquire the knowledge. And you acquire the energy to sustain yourself at step 2. When you get to step 2, same thing happens. As you're acquiring knowledge, learning the skill, that's what we call wealth skill. If you want to be a wealthy man, you must learn it.
There's a technology to it.
There's a technology. There is a ranks. That's why we have thousandaires, we have millionaires, and we have billionaires, and we have trillionaires. You can't just wake up as a thousandaire and you want to be a billionaire. It can happen. Even if somebody pays you 1 billion into your account, you cannot manage it because you haven't been a millionaire. You must learn how to manage thousands, then you learn how to manage billions before you know how to manage billions.
Correct.
So if you say that I want to become a billionaire, you must try to become a millionaire first. Then manage the millions and be self-sustainably active with the resources around you. Then when the billions come, you can manage it. Some persons have received 10 million in their life, but they are worse than somebody that has not seen 1 million. Because they could not psychologically absorb the pressure of the money. Money comes with pressure. There is somebody that if you pay him 5 million into the account, you will run mad. But somebody you give 1 billion, it will be as if nothing entered his account. So your ability to grow your intellectual strength on administrative management when it comes to finance. It enables you to grow your ranks financially. So you cannot stand up and say, I want to be like what is called Yahoo Yahoo. I don't know. If you say you don't want to go to school, you just want to go and pick your laptop and phone and begin to press. Then when you press out the 1 million, how can you manage it? He said, when preparation meets opportunity, success becomes inevitable. Preparation meeting opportunity. Even within their ranks, as the internet fraudsters, there is a difference between a graduate doing it and a school dropout doing it, is it not? So even if in the business of the Yahoo Yahoo, knowledge is still what? Required. So if you say, people are pressing phone and making money, and you live to acquire knowledge, build yourself, then you are a generational failure and embarrassment to your people. As an ancestral king, it is against the custom and tradition of our people to fraudulently acquire wealth. It is a taboo. It is a bad omen. And it is sacrilegious with consequential causes when it comes to fraudulent acts that infiltrates the cultural value of our people. It is condemnable. I, His Royal Excellency, Eze ikemba, condemn in its entirety any act that does not depict our dignity as Africans. So having said that, we have the ranks of wealth, the servanthood by Igbo culture, the educational system that enables you to get certified, the skills system. Even if your parents doesn't have the money to send you to school, you can learn skills and begin to make money. When you start making money, you can further train yourself. Most people who you see today who are making waves in the society got academic excellence through personal effort, not by parental counsel or guidance. They saw life as a challenge. They took the bull by the horn, and today they are excelling. So the youth must embrace the culture of dignity in labor. They must embrace the culture of ranks of growth. There is no short corner, because the Igbo say, "Onye kuruchi uzo, obabo onwe no so." Meaning that when you are faster than your God, you get weary along the road. So acquiring wealth from outrageous sources is running ahead of your time, ahead of your God. You see kids of 18, 20 years driving Benz. What did you drive in your 40s? If you start driving Mercedes Benz at 18, what will you drive in your 40s? You have already reduced your lifespan, because it is believed by our custom and tradition that a child should go to school or go through the slave system, that at 20 to 28, you should have acquired knowledge and experience to now start talking about money. Then at your 30, 31, 32, as a young man, you start thinking of marriage, so that you can start raising a young family and in partnership with your wife, build a home. That is the system. Back in the days when our ancestors were living a primitive life, when a young man gets into adolescence, he enters into the age group. The age group will help him to establish a mud house. Then when he has his own time to go to his farm, his age groups will go and plant his yam. When it's time for harvest, they do it in faction by faction, in a rotational way. If we are 20 in our pair groups, 20 of us will go to farm for this person, farm yam for him. The next day we'll go for this person. Then within that 1 month, we have visited all the pair groups farm. Then if it is time to weed the farm, the pair groups go again. They weed. Make sure everybody's farm is in order. The time of harvest, everybody also go and harvest. Then you move your harvest to the to the farm.
This is very interesting. I want to digress. I don't know if you permit me.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's talk about religion. You seem to me like a deeply religious person. So, what is your concept, your idea of religion?
Perfect. When I was in secondary school, some students became sick. Then I was very religious. I was called. That was in my JS too. I went and laid hand on them and prayed. And they became...
In the name of who?
In the name of God.
In the name of Jesus?
Yes.
Jesus?
I prayed. In the name of Jesus.
So you believe in Jesus?
I'm coming for you. I prayed and they got healed. Then the whole school, they started calling me prophet. And that made me the appointment as a bell ringer and a chapel prefect. So early morning, I'll carry my Bible, I'll come. I begin to conduct devotion. And things were happening. So the whole people said, he is a priest. He will become a pastor or a reverend or whatever. Now, not knowing that the forces that were acting around me were my ancestral forces. So, based on the environment I grew up, I was attributing it to religious powers. Until when I had an encounter with my ancestors. I now understood where the forces and the powers were coming from. Then when it comes to religion, religion is your belief and practice. I believed that I was acting from the foreign religious background and I was performing miracles until I realized that the forces working with me were my ancestral forces and I have to return back and began to give them that acknowledgement. Then what is religion? Whatever you practice constantly becomes your religion. Religion is a constant